brought to you by
Placent Active Hair Growth products that are suitable for both natural and relaxed hair.
Hello there. The time we've all been waiting for this entire morning since the show started is now. Let's have that conversation about cohabiting. You know, the area we actually choose not to go to, we are going there today, and you have talked to us on social media, and of course we'll be sampling some of your views with regards to the same. And on social media we are asking you, just in case you've not dropped in your comment, we are asking you, cohabiting couples, should they be recognized as a married couple? Number one, should it be legalized in Uganda? What do we mean when we say cohabiting? Is it people who have just started staying together, or people who have stayed for as long as more than 10 years, over 10 years? Yes, so that's the conversation we're having today, and we are joined by experts in the studios. We are joined by Mr. Stephen Langa. He is the Executive Director of Family Life Network, and also we're joined by an amazing, beautiful lady who is very articulate with regards to this conversation, Miss Mariam Naguja. She is a relationship coach, counselor, and author of the Ladies Guide. Welcome to the studios.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Rita.
We'll just kick off this conversation with a quote from Madame Mariam's book. It's called The Ladies Guide to Fulfilling Relationships and True Happiness. Everything in life begins as casual, then ends up in casuality. But the trouble is, most people fail to realize that things have reached the level of casuality. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to first start off this conversation with a phone call from Miss Betty Nasuna. She is a mother of 3 and has been married for the last 17 years. But she is pro-cohabiting. Hello, good morning, Betty.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Now, it seems to be a bit strange that you are married, have been married for 17 years, but you are pro-cohabiting. How is this possible?
I believe I need to come to terms with the reality. Cohabiting is happening actually everywhere. More than the population of people who are married, those who are living as husband and wife, are actually cohabiting. In the African culture, what we know is that if there is consent by the parents, we have people who are living and both families know each other, but they do not have money to legalize the marriage. So I am saying that there is no difference between a couple that lives cohabiting and that is legally married. So cohabitation should actually be legalized because it's a reality whether we want it or not.
So the reality is what we should embrace at this point in time. Stop asking for things like marriage. If a man is willing to stay with a woman without going to church or maybe going to the courts, or without doing what they need to do in order to get the ring and say we are married, it's okay.
Of course everyone wants the ring. Everyone wants the ring, but what do you do if it's not coming forth like you want it? But this is a person that you agree with, it does everything, you have children, you have everything. What do? You have to wait for the ring, or say, maybe if the man dies, they keep you out just because you don't have a ring. I think marriage is beyond having a ring on that thing. It's the relationship that keeps it enjoyed, that actually bring in a third party in form of children. It shouldn't tie to having a ring. I mean, we also know people who have rings, but don't have an initial relationship, they continue to fight. I think it's about having that good relationship, agreeing on several things, and not that ring.
Betty, before we let you go, let me just ask you this. Is it just about not having the money to actually do it formal, like go for a wedding, or maybe going or to the authorities and just registering your wedding? Or there's more to it? What is it that has kept you in a cohabitation situation for 17 years? What is it that has made you feel like, I'm comfortable, I'm okay, I'm happy, and so we really don't have to go a step further? What exactly is it?
In most of it, it's about money. Of course, you start with 2 of you, then you think you will get money to do it. Then afterwards, you see coming, prayer is for a child, and then a wedding. sometimes you really want maybe coffee with your children. So you keep pushing that, you know, it depends on the needs at hand. So sometimes you have to also the legally things as long as you're still in a good relationship. I take care of the kids to maybe build a home. Actually, so many men will ask what you prefer, a ring or a home, and no one else can put the ring unless they don't have children.
Okay. All right.
It's about prioritizing.
And Betty, now this is the last question to you before we get to the experts. Have you thought of, God forbid, the unfortunate thing happening, and maybe, you know, you losing your husband and you not being able to, you know, claim for his estate because your marriage or your union was not documented in any, you know, office or authority? Are you worried about that eventuality?
Of course, I am worried. That worries me. But again, I think in most cases, even when a man dies, it's about the relationship that you had. And you're not thinking of the woman. If you were in a marriage for all these years, where do you stand? So either the property that you have in the hands of in the name of the children or some. So you just have to be careful. Personally, because most of the things that we have actually the names of the children.
Okay.
So you have to take extra precaution.
All right. Thank you so much, Betty, for opening up and for being as honest as possible. We salute you this morning. Yes. Thank you so much. And please stay tuned. Let's get to listen together what the experts have to say.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Just to clarify, she is and has been cohabiting for 17 years.
Right.
Well, it's not married. She has been cohabiting for 17 years. Now, bringing it back to the studio, Betty has raised a number of things that maybe we should start from there. One of the things being not the ring, but the home.
And the relationship.
The relationship. Let's start from there.
Now, you see, cohabiting is a trial marriage. That's another word.
Okay.
Test run. Let's test run. Let me move to the store, buy an electrical appliance, take it home, but I'm given guarantee, perhaps, for 3 months. If it doesn't work, I return it back to the stores, and then I get refund for my money. Cohabiting is the same thing. It doesn't matter whether she's there for 17 years, 20, 30, 5. The appliance will have to come back
at some point.
And there's a reason, perhaps it's nature's call, where the appliance has to come back to the store. You can't control the couple involved, the man and the woman. They can't control. Something will happen. Change. A mindset of a man can change. She's getting older. The man isn't gone. And then new girls are coming up. The malas are coming.
The malas are coming.
Then, what we're realizing as counselors is that young girls who come to take up marriages of the ladies who have been cohabiting for a very long time usually get the ring.
How does that usually happen? Because it's not the first time we're hearing of this, that this trial, as you're calling it, the trial marriage. If you, let's say for 17 years, if you say you've taken something from a shop and you haven't yet taken it back, that means you like it, so you're keeping it.
As long as it can like you also, and it can be a service. But when it is not working, and then there is a guarantee, you have to return it back, and then you get your refund. So somebody in such a relationship, whether it is 30 years, let's understand this. Human beings are never dependable, reliable in matters of relationship, especially on the side of the male. Not her. She is very committed, you can hear. She's very happy about it. But what about the other practitioner? What is he thinking?
Mr. Stephen, just let you in on this point. She mentioned it's easy for ladies to commit, and when we go in with everything.
That's right.
Our limbs, our everything.
That's right.
But what ladies will tell you, and I'm sure it's also highlighted in that book, is that when a girl is born, she always has this idea of, you know, the happily ever after, the fairy tale wedding. But at this point, things have been made easier for us by the authorities. You don't have to go through a wedding process to have that documentation of marriage. You can actually just walk to the authorities, register your marriage, and that's it. Yes. So what happens to the brain of the man who actually brainwashes this pretty much vulnerable lady who's in it for love, to the point whereby he actually tries to make me see no sense in even just going to register our marriage.
Yeah. Well, something you need to know about men or boys is that a man can have one foot here and another foot elsewhere. And yet, for you ladies, as you said, you come in wholly, completely 100%. But a man can put one leg here and another one there and pretend to be really with you. And as they say, a man can promise you the moon if that's what you need to hear in order to give in. He can't do that. He knows he can't deliver it, but he will promise it to you. Yeah. And then at the appropriate time, he can do something else. Now, a lot of men are like that. There are, of course, men who have character, who are dependable, and who make good husbands. But coming back to Betty's situation, I think that Betty is in a very risky situation. Yeah, because if anything happens, as we've already said, she's hanging on air. Yeah, there's no fallback position for her. Secondly, she is making a very bad example for her children, because the children are going to grow up and are going to see that, oh, this is the way to go, which is not a good way. Now, she keeps talking of money, and the man keeps talking about money, and so those are some of the excuses. Surely, if that man was serious, they can just go to the RDC and register that marriage, where there is no money, no money, no amount of money or serious amount of money required. So I feel that that gentleman is not sincere.
Very, very not sincere.
Yeah, he's not sincere.
Not committed, not responsible, and not accountable. Those 4 words.
Especially responsibility, yeah, because a responsible man
cannot be in that arrangement.
Yes, will go ahead and stick out his neck and make a commitment.
As we seem to be showing the negative bits of it, and also a few things that come with, there are dangers to all of this. But why is it growing? Because we must say it's within this era right now, there are more people who are choosing to be in situations just like Betty's and saying, it's okay, I will go with this, it's totally fine.
Relationships, committed relationship, someone to commit to another person, as in marriage, as in long term, is for adults and mature people. That's one. There is a huge fear among the young generation of, why do I have to buy a cow if I can find milk in every supermarket? So they find cows everywhere. Right. Why do I need a cow at home? So usually this fear and nervousness over marriage, to commit to one person, to be responsible, accountable, predictable, and all that, committed, they fear it. Then they choose, let us try. I'll try Mala for 3 years. Don't forget, sparks of a relationship are not above 3 years. By 3 years, everybody has lost it. The interest is gone. Now, if she is in 17 years, it is highly likely the man has already packed emotionally. He can't show you. Because the children, now there are other things to keep you in a relationship. That is children, they've seen us, the family. There's some bit of hard work inside there, which means a relationship is run on free ride. On her side, not his side.
Right.
She has to make that research.
Would the ring guarantee that he would still stay? Because
a ring,
the children and all,
commitment
and accountability.
Accountability, predictability. Yes. You're predictable than something which is vague, ambiguous.
Yes.
So we're talking about not just a ring, but that document.
Document.
Right.
A relationship has to be documented.
Yeah. Right. Because you can just have a diamond ring without documentation.
Exactly.
And it beats the purpose.
Yes.
Yes.
It has to be something legal and binding. Yes.
Interesting.
Because that's what marriage is. Marriage has to be legal. It's not just you meet the two of you and you make even your own vows. That's null and void. It has to be legal.
And also we've been discussing with Mr. Stavin that I think people need to be taught why they need marriage. There should be an institution to teach why do we need families and marriage.
Why do we need marriage? Then why do we need marriage?
Why do I need to buy a
Marriage
cow?
and family are very, very important. They're the basic foundation block for society. People's success in life, people's ability to negotiate life well and properly, all depends on the family background. A stable family brings out stable people into society.
Exactly.
Who can do, who can be responsible citizens, law-abiding citizens, and so on, which we need. if families are broken, then you're bringing up broken people, lawless people, and so on, and society can actually crash.
Right.
Okay.
But Mariam, you know, someone would argue that, okay, fine, why should I pressure myself to get into a committed relationship? And yet I've seen someone, I'm just thinking, and yet I've seen a majority of, you know, marriages break up. And that's actually the trend nowadays. So why should I bother committing and then carry the huge burden of a divorce or a separation?
And that's the fear for every young couple. Why do I need to commit if I'm seeing so-and-so is jumping out, then it's getting divorced? But listen to this. First of all, cohabitation is a substitute to singleness. It is not an alternative to marriage, which means a person in cohabiting, you're very near to be single again than being married.
You can easily walk out.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
They can decouple you, you can decouple them, and then you can even get married after 17 years and they will break up. Do you know why? Because 50 and 80% of marriages that are coming out of cohabitation to marriage easily break up. Reason being, they move into a serious commitment with the same mistakes. Mindset of cohabitation. Because cohabitation is a result of selfishness. There is lack of interdependence. I mean, if someone can be with you for 17 years, they are selfish already. It's a fact.
Exactly.
They care about themselves. They don't care about the future, who even the stakeholders, the children. So which means they move into a serious commitment with the same mistakes. Now that's selfishness, problems, mistakes, now breaks the final marriage.
Wow.
Taking it to family, you do mention something, Mr. Stephen, which is the fact that family is very important. And also Betty said it. She says, as long as I have consent from my family, I can go ahead and do it. Go and cohabit with this man. 17 years they have been doing this and the families have agreed. And they'll actually say those people are married, but technically they are not married. What is happening to the family system, which used to hold people accountable and say, no?
You see, modernity, globalization, the media, you know, you see people today want to see what, or want to emulate what is happening in Hollywood. You know? People fall in love under the stars, you know?
And that's not the real.
And that's not real.
It's not the real.
It's not real.
Right.
So people are waiting for that and it will never come. It will never come. Marriage is made out of solid, good decisions and commitment.
And it takes work.
Yes, it takes
Patience,
work. Exactly.
Commitment, accountability, kindness, all those difficult things for any person to practice.
Exactly.
Now that they are not committed in cohabiting is an opposite of commitment automatically. I'm not committed, let's cohabit. So which means that in case I'm tired of you, I can end it.
You know, let's
I'm free.
let's help the young ones, especially them that are in college, campus, because that's where the trend starts. Them that live off campus and rent their own homes. A majority actually cohabit, and it's a worrying trend. At what point then do you realize that? Because it just starts like, okay, come spend a night. The second night, you know, the third night, before you know it, my clothes have also moved in. So at what point do you realize that, hey, I need to stop here? It's now moved from 1 night, 2 nights to now living together. At what point do you say, I gotta stop?
You see, people need to realize that the way we handle our sexuality has a big bearing on what you're talking about here. Sexuality is something precious which needs to be protected. You know? It's like when you're walking around in town and you have 10 million shillings in the pocket, you know? You suspect everybody, you know, to be a thief, you know? That's how we should be walking with our sexuality, keeping it. But what's happening today is that people are careless about it. They've trivialized.
There is lack of sexual values. In fact, they call it sexual corruption.
Exactly.
They're not taught. Someone to have sex with another person is just as normal.
It's just trivial these days.
Then they're killing the whole system. And then, why do I need to marry you if we've enjoyed each other for a long time? Let's stay there.
So that's the foundation. People need to, first of all, manage their sexuality properly.
Self-control.
Yes. self-control is the beginning point of this whole conversation. Once you have self-control, which by the way we need throughout our lives, it's not only when you're single, even as married people, you know, temptations can be there and is there, but that self-control will help you sail through the murky waters.
So at what point does a girl realize I need to stop, or a gentleman realize I need to stop? I need to stop going to a house. I need to stop going to his house. At what point?
You see, there is a study I was trying to do that ladies between 18 to 25, 18 years to 25, most of them must have run through that system of cohabiting. That's why at the age of 30 and above, they are not willing to take up that shit. Many of them. Yes,
they say they are done with it.
The mistakes are so many.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been with a guy from 18, you've worked your way out, and then you're growing, and then he marries another person. Aren't you understanding? So you see, life has to teach you the harder way. Move in, make mistakes. If you don't get a baby, the better. If you get a baby, that's a price you have to pay for all your life. So I think we should take some bit of personal responsibility. Them, when they're moving in, now they're listening to us. When you're moving in and you're staying with this boyfriend at the university, and then he is jumping out of it, he's not even buying food for you, he's not paying any tuition, nothing. He's investing nothing apart from his body and the good time. That's enough. It's enough lesson that this person is irresponsible, unaccountable, not committed, and I'm wasting my time.
And for me, I think from the time people get this information, let them halt. Yes, stop, because there's a lot of ignorance around. But from the time you hear a message like this, halt, stop, and reflect, and chart out a new path.
Okay. As we continue to have a conversation about cohabiting, we can't have it without the people who are either actually in it or what the people in society believe, and that's where social media comes in. So we asked the question about cohabiting on Facebook and Twitter, and David Lucas is going to be taking us through those comments, because some of them have had me putting my hands on my head, raising my eyebrows. Some I'm praying for you as well. So over to you, David.
Very true. Some need to pray for them. Anyway, good morning. Let's take a look at some of the feedback that we're getting off our social media platforms. On Twitter, Muhanguzi Justice says, I second it. You realize most families that have been stable for a very long time, the parents are cohabiting. Olo Boni says, whether 100 years, it won't miraculously turn into a marriage. 10 years and you're still doing what? Unless the game of studying one another comes in. Cohabiting for 1 year has the same meaning like for 10 to 20 etc years. Nyakojo Silva Arali says, yes, because they have lived all the qualities for all the time for a married couple. They deserve to be recognized. Very interesting thoughts. You can keep them coming on Twitter and Facebook. That is at NTV Uganda. The hashtag is Morning at NTV. Let us know your thoughts and we'll keep sharing them as we go on with the show.
Mariam, you were laughing at a number of them. I'm just saying, how is this possible? But what does that express for you? What do you feel?
He has read about that thing where he says that they are enjoying services of a married couple, even without being married, and what's wrong with it? I mean, we are living together. And then he said that even our parents were in cohabiting, and we are okay.
Yeah, and they lived longer together.
But they had cultural values. Men of long ago, they had cultural values. As in, much as they were cohabiting, they had conscience that I can't just dump this woman with my 11 children to a younger girl at the university and we begin a new family, which is not now. The technological changes in place cannot allow a man to commit to one woman for a long time. Why? Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. I mean, I can get a woman by the tip of a finger like this. Yet our parents never had all this technology. Right. So he could keep one woman like a penguin. Okay. Because there is a saying that penguins keep one mate for life. Why? Because they're the same. They have no any other equivalent. Right. So we can't say that now it has to work because there's a lot of mess.
Then, Mr. Steven, one would ask, and of course, as we come to a close, as we bring this to a wrap, legalizing cohabitation, will it be the solution to taming men?
No, it's not. A man has to show responsibility because for you to get married, you have to be courageous enough to take responsibility, to own up to your actions, and take this lady in honor. Men who are not willing to do that should not be given the luxury to be recognized.
What is a lucky
Yes,
big one.
yeah, a big one. They don't deserve it. They should be real men, and a real man is courageous, a real man has character, a real man is faithful.
And committed.
Accountable.
So
Yes.
the last advice as we wrap this up is that for a number of people who are watching this morning, they say, okay, I have been cohabiting, but I think I want that legal document. Do I leave the home now and just go back to my parents' house till he comes and is courageous enough to ask me to get married to him? What do they do next?
I think they can discuss, because there are many options. There's the religious marriage, there's the traditional marriage, and there's the civil marriage.
Right.
Yeah, civil marriage is very cheap. You just go to the RDC with 2 witnesses or something like that, and you get married. It doesn't require an amount of money. So if they are really serious, they should go for that.
And if the man is not for
And
that,
then
what
you think the man
happens
is
then?
willing at that
If he's
level?
not, if he's not willing, what
If
happens?
he's not
Pray
for
for them.
that, we just need to pray for you. Yeah.
Not even
honestly.
prayer. There, the relationship has to end.
I mean,
it has hit a big
really.
wall. It
So
is not
she
moving,
leaves because he doesn't want to go to the next level.
because even if she stays, it will have to end.
Okay.
There's no difference, really.
There's no difference.
Yeah, there's no
Whether
difference.
30 years, 20 years, it will end.
There's no difference.
Turns out cohabitation is a conversation that either you choose to get into the marriage
Right.
set of things or leave it.
Right.
But I think let's just put them to the hot seat. Just 3 disadvantages of staying in a cohabitation situation. 3 pointers. You, 3 each. You can start
Because
with
the
your
harm on the relationship and the people involved.
Okay.
There is a lot of violence. Domestic violence is a lot in those kind of relationship. There is a lot of infidelity. If I can't commit to you, I can have 10 sexual partners.
True.
Many of those marriages or cohabitations don't actually work out. Even if you get married, it doesn't work out. It is a very bad example for the children, because they're showing them that this is an easy way, and brings about multi-generational disadvantages. Finally, it is bad for society,
Right.
because society needs strong marriages which are based on real marriage, not just cohabitation.
And maybe finally you can also not claim any of the deceased
Yes,
estates.
yes.
Right.
It is as if the relationship never took place.
Absolutely.
You've forgotten.
Very
Oh my goodness. I hope we've all learned. I don't know what your situation is, but you gotta make it right. You can actually just go for civil registration. Just go get the document. You don't have to do a luxurious wedding. It's a few pennies. Go register your marriage and get it right, guys. That is it for Take Note. Morning Attentive still continues. Don't go too far.
Are you dreaming of longer and thicker hair? Or of long and natural eyelashes?
Try Placent Active Hair Growth products that are suitable for both natural and relaxed hair. Available at all the biggest pharmacies and beauty shops.